China is ready to begin the construction of world's largest hydropower dam. But this has set the alarm bells blaring across New Delhi. But the question here is, what can actually India do? Where water is being used as a geopolitical tool, is there something that India can do in terms of diplomacy, or there is something that India can do as a counter project? Hello everyone, welcome to Vajiram and Ravi's Flash News. My name is Shubhangi Singh, and in today's session we are not just going to talk about the world's largest hydropower project, the Medog Dam, but we are also going to talk about the counter project that India has decided to come up with as an answer to China's control over the upper stream of Brahmaputra. So let us begin with understanding, and then we'll dissect all the themes across it. So the first thing that we need to understand that what exactly is China doing. So China has started the construction of a very important dam because this is being expected to be the world's largest hydropower project, which is a 60,000 megawatt hydropower project. Now this is the Medog Hydropower Project. Now where it is placed? It is present on the Yarlung Tsangpo River, just 50 kilometers away from the Arunachal Pradesh boundary. Now Arunachal Pradesh, this is the international boundary we have. Across this we have China, just located approximately 50 kilometers from the Arunachal Pradesh border. Now the problem is not that this is the largest hydropower project for India. The problem are two things here. First, that it is only 50 kilometers away from the international boundary, and China being a notorious neighbor, non-reliable one where multiple tensions exist, this is something that has not comfortably settled for India. Another big thing that you need to remember here, when we are talking about this river, Yarlung Tsangpo, this is the river which enters India as Siang and then later becomes Brahmaputra, lifeline of Northeast India. So if China gets to control the upstream here in the name of this very big hydropower project, biggest hydropower project, what does India do for that? So we will be looking into all of these aspects. Now first let us understand a little bit more about this Medog Dam. Now as I mentioned, biggest hydropower project, biggest dam across the globe. The project estimates to generate energy of 60,000 megawatt located on Yarlung Tsangpo, which enters India as Siang and then becomes Brahmaputra. And as of now, China has just started the construction. So this is not something that China was portraying to threaten India. This is something very real that is going to happen, and China is doing it, and the construction has begun. Now, China is saying that we are making this dam right here, Medog Dam site, is for achieving our carbon neutrality target, which they have set for 2060. Can you tell me in the comment section, what is the year that India has set as the carbon neutrality target? Now China says, we want just renewable energy generation, we want to achieve our carbon neutrality targets, we want development of Tibet, which is very important, comparatively underdeveloped as compared to other parts of China. And we also want the regulation of this whole river flow. Now, one important thing that China has not directly saying, that they also want a strategic control that can be leveraged later, especially on all the water resources that they have. Now, because this is a transboundary river, if they have control over the water resources, or in this part, it is going to affect the other part as well. Now this is where we have to put the strategic lens on and see it that this is a dam which has capacity almost 3 times India's largest planned hydropower project. And most importantly, that how it can directly influence the downstream hydrology, which is very important from the perspective of India. So these are the things that make it a strategically very important decision, impactful decision, consequential decision, especially when we are talking about this river in India and probably Bangladesh as well. Now when we have understood the whole project, now let us move to understand that if India understands that what is going to be altered. So for this we have to talk about this basin in detail, because this basin and why it is important, that's when we will be able to understand that what alteration can do. So in this context, when we are looking at Brahmaputra as a river, it is not something that just contributes environmentally, it contributes economically, it contributes ecologically a lot. Economically, also known as lifeline of Northeast, it is responsible for the irrigation of agricultural lands in Assam, supports fishery, supports livelihoods, a lot of hydropower potential. Subhansiri River, other tributaries, a lot of potential that needs to be realized can come from here. Then if we look at the ecological importance, biodiversity hotspot, wetland, riverine ecosystems, critical sediment transportation happens. Brahmaputra brings a lot of sediment load. That is where you get to see one of the biggest delta formation when Brahmaputra merges with Ganga and brings out the flow. So in this context, Brahmaputra is of great significance in this region. Apart from that, we also have to look at the same time that it is also contributing in terms of security perspective. This is a transboundary river. We have to understand that how strategically it can be controlled by China because it originates there, and we don't have any proper comprehensive water sharing treaty at all. If there is an upstream dam, it will alter the river flow, that will affect the ecology, it will affect the sediment flow rate, sediment reduction can happen, flash floods can happen, the ecology will be disrupted, and water security will be a huge question when we are looking especially in northeast of our country. So this region, which we are calling as the region which is using Brahmaputra as lifeline, that is going to be heavily affected. India decided to come up with a counter project. Now that counter project is Siang Upper Multipurpose Project. Now when we are talking about this is a project which has a capacity of, expected capacity of 11,000 megawatt, because as of now it is only in pre-feasibility stage. We are in the stage where we are seeing that if this can actually be made, it can be done, the feasibility is being checked out, and this is located on river Siang. Now, when we are talking about this project, which is almost 1/6 in terms of capacity of what Medog project is, this seems like a smaller counter project, but at the same time, to develop infrastructure, to look towards the control, strategic control of water resources, this is what India is trying to achieve through this project. Apart from that, of course, it will bring in energy security, flood moderation, water storage, better management of water resources, renewable energy will be generated, and India will be able to mark its strategic presence as well. So when we are looking at this project as an answer, one bigger problem here is that China has already started building their project. We are at a pre-feasibility stage, and the challenges here are multiple. Not just environmental concerns, but the strong local tribal opposition which needs to be understood, not just mitigated, rehabilitation concerns that also need to be addressed. High financial costs, let's just say that is also managed. Another thing that we need to consider here, that whatever would be the consequence, the implementation is delayed. So if it is not coming in time, then China remains ahead, not just in terms of strategic control, but in the timely delivery of that very strategic control as well. And this is where we get to see that water has emerged as a geopolitical tool. We are calling this hydrogeopolitics, hydropolitics, especially between India and China in this scenario, where there are multiple big concerns, such as there is no data sharing at all. What this leads to? This leads to more tension because there is limited transparency. The countries are not talking, they are not explaining things. Given it's India and China, the relations have been quite tense if we look at the given last decade itself. Now China gets the upstream control. What it will do? It will give strategic leverage to China. India would want to up it, again tensions possible. Climate change is something that is not going to affect the dam per se, but the consequences the dam will create, that might be amplified. The flash floods, the droughts, all of this might be amplified. And then the biggest issue, the trust deficit, which can lead to not just diplomatic tensions, but military tensions as well, which we have seen between India and China. Now you might be thinking, is this something absolutely new that is happening between India and China? When we are talking about hydropolitics, is that the first example that we can set here is India and China only. No, this is something we have very frequently seen, especially when we are talking about trans-boundary rivers such as Nile River Basin, Mekong River Basin, Tigris, Euphrates Basin and more. So if you see the blue marked areas across here, you will be able to see that how these are the regions which have trans-boundary rivers, more vulnerable to such disputes and tensions as well. Tell me in the comment section which are the other basins that you know, even if you want to take examples from the given map, which are trans-boundary rivers, which are trans-boundary, or they have basins which are present across the countries. Now on this note, let us understand that what can be done in coming times. First, short-term things, we have to focus on strengthening the flood forecasting, understanding river better, so river monitoring station, improving disaster preparedness. So these are the things in order to control the consequences that might be created by upper stream dams. Because the construction of the counter project that we are talking, that is not happening immediate. That is something we can address in medium term. We can accelerate SUMP implementation, enhance our hydrological research and increase storage capacity for emergency situation. And in long term, all of this needs to be moved toward a proper institutionalized river diplomacy, where probably we have a proper treaty, we have better understanding in terms of data sharing, where we focus on basin-wide cooperation, we build climate resilient infrastructure and we are more cooperative than competitive. Now that was all from my side. Now I will be leaving you here with the prelims practice questions. Such questions are very important from the perspective of exam. They prepare you that how the questions can be asked from the given topics. I hope you can see the whole of the questions. That was all from my side. Thank you so much.